wasn't following that amazing, enchanting speech. Okay. One day, or day one. When my son was in preschool, one day his teacher sat all the children down in a class and on the circle time rug in a cute little circle, crisscross applesauce, hands to yourselves. And she went around the circle and she asked every child the exact same question. She said, "What do you want to be when you grow up?" One little boy said, "I want to be a puppy." And one little girl said, "I'm going to be the tooth fairy." And she was serious. When they got to my son, he wouldn't answer the question. My son is very shy, very quiet. He does not like attention called to him. As you can see, the apple can fall very far from the tree. And being her sweet, sugary self, she bent down to him and tried to help him out. And she said, "Well, would you like to be a pilot when you grow up?" Wow, that lit a fire under his little butt. A pilot? Oh my God, he looked disgusted. He said, "That's a girl's job." Well, for any of you that don't know it, I'm a pilot for United Airlines, and that moment was a real mother moment for me. It triggered something. And I started to think, wow, how did I get here? If someone had asked me that same question when I was 4 years old, I would have had just as a visceral response as my son, only I would have said, "Pilot, that's a boy's job." I was raised in a very traditional Italian Catholic household. I had loving parents, I had a great home, but I will say I was raised with very rigid gender role expectations. Every single day of my childhood, my mother and I would cook together and clean together, and we would do laundry side by side in the living room. And she would say to me, "My duty as your mother is to teach you your duties." And she would explain that that was God's plan for me as a woman. And I didn't question it. I don't think I was thrilled about it, but who was I to question God's plan or my mother? So I thought about this. You know, my childhood, the nature versus nurture battle, for sure, nurture was winning that battle. So what changed? Obviously something switched that switch was flipped. And when did that happen? And this moment with my son had me thinking about that. When did that happen? Well, when I was in high school, I got my driver's license, and one day I suddenly had this sense of freedom, and I decided I was going to do something crazy, insane, teenage rebellion. And I got in my mom's beat-up old station wagon, nobody was home, and I drove to an airport. I just wanted to see an airplane up close. I had always loved airplanes. I had always loved looking up in the sky. I lived by Newark Airport and looking at the airplanes. But I could never tell anybody that I loved looking at airplanes because I knew my mom would be embarrassed. She'd say I was acting like a boy. I knew that my church would look down at me. I knew that people would make fun of me. So I had to hide that. But I just wanted to see an airplane. So I drove to this airport and got there, was feeling especially bold, got out of my car, and there was this one inviting door at the end of a hangar right in the parking lot. And I thought, I'm gonna walk in that door. I'm just gonna check the scene out. And when I walked in, do you know what I walked into? My God, it was a flight school. I had walked into a flight school. Did you know that you could go to an airport and take flying lessons? I had no clue. I was blown away. I just couldn't believe it. Well, needless to say, 20 bucks later, I was up in the air taking a discovery flight, and the instructor that brought me up was this very good-looking young man. I have to admit that did not hurt the cause. And that was it. I was sold. I had the flying bug, as they say. I had to take flying lessons. I had to learn how to fly a plane. But I couldn't. You'd think that was what flipped the switch. It wasn't, because I still wasn't allowed to do stuff like that. And not to mention, I was just a broke teenager. How could I possibly afford something like flying lessons? But you know, when you really, really want something bad, your wheels start turning and you just don't give up. And I started thinking, I can make this work. At least I can get one lesson or two lessons. I gotta get up in the sky again. So I found the owner of the flight school, and I started talking to him, and I made him an offer. I said, how about if I work for you for free, and you don't pay me anything, but I work in exchange for flying lessons? And shockingly, he took me up on that offer. He thought that was a grand idea. In hindsight, I'm thinking there might have been some tax evasion going on here, because I did work a lot of hours and he never paid me. It was all off the books, but I learned how to fly an airplane. And you would think that is what changed things for me, but it wasn't, because I still had to hide it from my teachers, from my friends, and from my parents, and from my church, and from my guidance counselor. So what made the difference? What flipped the switch for me? Well, when I went to the airport, I didn't feel that pressure. When I was at the airport, I could be who I was. Nobody looked down at me. Nobody thought I was crazy or immature or irrational or unfeminine or working against God. They all supported just who I was. They all thought that was totally fine that I wanted to be a pilot. And it was incredible, because for the first time ever in my life, I felt good about myself. For the first time ever in my life, I believed in myself. And that's what flipped the switch. That's what gave me the power to be who I wanted to be and to pursue what I wanted to be. And I just want to say that when I come here and I am standing in front of all of you or watching my fellow Toastmasters up here, that's exactly the power that I feel. That's what I feel from all of you, that you're all here. The week before Christmas, on a Thursday night, you could be home, drinking cocoa and wrapping presents, but you're not. You're here supporting each other. And do you know what else? Every single person here is here for 2 reasons. One, to help the other person out, but you're all here because you all want something more for yourselves. You all want to better yourselves. You all want to improve in some way, whatever that way is. So you come here. And just like I made that first time I made the choice, day one over one day, all of you here made that exact same choice. You all are that person. You all are the day one, not one day.